Okay, everyone, I'd like to have your attention. We're ready to begin our celebration and dedication of this mural of Bob and Pat Barker. And I put those names together. Everybody says, well, it's Bob Barker this, Bob Barker that. And I said, it's Bob Barker and Pat. And she influences a lot of what Bob does. And we're glad you do, because Bob has the biggest heart of anyone I know. He jump-started everything you see in Cherryville. As I think it was in 2019, I was at a luncheon at the country club, and I think Jill was with me. And Bob came up to our table and sat down, and he said, so you're the new mayor? He said, what are you going to do to get this town going again? And I said, well, at that time we had some embezzlement and corruption in our police department. I said, my main objective is to get Cherryville back to being respectable again. And he said, well, what will it really take to redo downtown to get it jump started? And I said, just kidding. I said, well, $1 million. And then the next thing I know, we were at the Chamber of Commerce yearly banquet, and Bob called me up there and said, I have something for the mayor. And he hands me a check for $1 million on the personal account. And I was just in awe, speechless. And for me to be speechless is something else, because I love to run my mouth. But we're so proud that you could be here for this dedication. The artist, Judy Dempsey, is here that did the painting. We're so glad to have her, and I know you have people with you too. And there's just so many things that money was able to help us with. We got all new water and sewer on Main Street. We were able to tell the merchants, you just want to connect. It's not going to cost you anything. Put all new pipes in. You're not going to have problems with them for years and years to come. And then Bob came to me later and said he wanted to see cherry trees back in Cherryville. After all, that was the name of our city. So he donated $100,000 to put cherry trees back out, and we started on that. And then he wasn't satisfied with that. He said, I want 50 more. So came back with more of those. Then I know he's been so instrumental, and I see that my neighbor Ann Davis is here. He's done so much for the Cherryville High School Educational Fund. He really has. He put a challenge out to him. He said, you raise $100,000 on your own and I'll match it. And you know what? They got to work and they said, we're going to do that. We're going to hold him to it. And they did. And he's just been there every time. He's helped with the museum. It's unbelievable what the museum, there's Sid Strapp to tell you, and chairman of the board, Petey Kraft, and they can tell you how much that's helped at the museum. And American Legion, there he is again. When they needed something, they went to Bob, and Bob was there. So Bob, I don't know how to thank you any more than saying thank you, but from the bottom of my heart, I love you. I love you, Pat. Thank you for all you've done. And we're so glad you're here, and you'll always be our favorite son for the city of Cherryville, always. And at this time, I'm going to introduce one of our council members, Jill Pewitt, who just happened to be with me that night, or that day when he gave us that $1 million.
Thank you, everyone. I'll tell you, I didn't know Bob Barker for a long time, but I feel like I knew him a lot because his classmate, my favorite aunt, Pat Bean, and Bob were in school together, and so every class reunion, me and her talked about it and what all was being done, what they were going to be doing. She stayed in touch with Bob, and the one thing I admired so much about you both is that when we were losing her, you came to see her before she died, and then you were back here for her funeral, and they sat with the family there with us, but she thought the absolute world of you. And she said, there's nobody like him. And I found that out through the things since I've been on the council here. But the one thing, Bob was so good at, and was this Main Street program. And even when I talked to him, when I was in Fuquay for a meeting, I went out back and was just looking at that beautiful lake. And I called Bob and talked to him and told him things that we were doing. And he told me then, do not lose sight of that Main Street program. Whatever you do, he said, you're going to see things happen in your town. And it has happened. And I mean, just getting to know Bob and what he has done for so many, not only our town, but even for our kids here that may have been having a little bit of trouble getting an interview with Campbell. Bob helped our kids here and helped them to get those interviews. Now, they had to do the work and get in, but he did make those things happen. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if some of them would have gotten them, but I always knew if someone needed something, I'd call Aunt Pat and I said, can you call your little buddy and tell him we've got a kid that needs a little help, and she'd be on that phone. Aunt Pat is such an inspiration. She was in my life. I mean, we would sit at night and talk over a cookbook or about some recipes, or she'd call me to go take her shopping. And Sarita's here. She used to be involved in those trips too. But Bob, I do know one thing. If she was living today and would see this, you and Pat both visiting and be with her, she would be absolutely beaming. I can't help but think she's here. And you've got some classmates here today that are here to support you. But can't thank you. I'm in the American Legion Auxiliary because of Aunt Pat, and still doing it. And then the Schladers are here. That meant a lot to me, seeing them come here, because they think so much of you. And they came to see this mural that I told them about. And we can't thank you enough for what you've done. But thank you for being so good to my Aunt Pat. She'll always have a special place in my heart, always, because she never told me no if I asked her to help me with something or to do it. And she would always do it a lot like you. That class really had a close bond, and you stuck together. You really did. But all I ever heard, I felt like I knew you before I met you the first time. And it's just wonderful to be able to call you and Pat our friends, my friends, because you loved Aunt Pat, both of you, as much as I did. So thank you all for what you've done. I'm going to call on our city manager now to come up and make a few remarks.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. and Ms. Barker for everything you've done for the city of Cherryville. And just this morning when I was coming to town at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, I look and I see Annalise Boutique out here with people all out on the sidewalk, you know, buying clothes. You know, right now somebody's walking into Mr. Chili to eat lunch, or maybe walking into the Fuzzy Cow, and soon we'll be walking back into the museum. So all the things that you have done are coming to fruition every day in the city of Cherryville. That's why these businesses are growing. That's why the city of Cherryville is growing, and that's why we're prospering here at the city of Cherryville. You know, I can remember back in 2019, you know, we were looking, what are we going to do with Main Street? How are we going to make it grow? You know, we had revitalized one building, which is now Mr. Chili, and we were told we cannot expand any more in the city of Cherryville downtown until we get some new water lines, some new sewer lines. And that's when, Mr. Barker, you come through with your donation of $1 million, and I feel like that helped give us the confidence here in the city of Cherryville to move forward and get what we now have and what we continue to build. So thank you very much for everything you've done for Main Street. You were the guiding light that got it started and has continued to make it prosper. The museum, you've been a donator of the museum. You've helped them a great deal, and I think you're going to be extremely happy to see what people like Sid Strapp, people like Mr. Kraft behind you have done, and what they're in the process of doing at the museum. American Legion Baseball, we appreciate everything you have done to help them. You've sponsored state tournaments. You've done all those things, and if you just look again today, if you ride around to every field in the city of Cherryville, they're all completely packed today with people there and kids there playing baseball on every field. And that's part of what you have helped do in the past. You've helped get that excitement to bring people here to want to participate in baseball tournaments. The Cherryville High School Education Foundation. You know, my daughter is a junior at Cherryville High School right now, and you know, she doesn't have the outdoor classroom. She doesn't have the science lab that they just built. She doesn't have the sign out front of Cherryville High School if it's not for people like you doing what you did for the Cherryville High School Education Foundation. And I just want to say thank you, and Miss Barker, for everything you've done. And this is just a small token of our appreciation. But thank you. And I would like to introduce our downtown director, David Day, at this time.
Mr. and Mrs. Barker, on behalf of the Cherryville Main Street program, I want to thank you for your dedication to the city of Cherryville and the North Carolina Main Street program. 5 years ago, the city began the revitalization of Main Street, instrumental by your donation. Your encouragement and financial support are a major factor in bringing new business, new owners, and revitalization to our vibrant downtown and its historical building. Another contribution you made was the Cherryville Historic Park over here with our original buildings. I believe you gave $100,000 to that. The historical committee met. They revitalized every one of those buildings that were about to collapse and fall down. And that park has visitors every day, which is part of the Main Street. We thank you for that. 4 years ago, you and I and Ms. Barker rode around the entire city, and you shared your love of Cherryville with me. As we drove by your original home place, the places you played, you filled me in on the history that you had here. And your history and your story instilled a passion you have for Cherryville. We are honored you are willing to not only share your stories and your heritage, but your gifts with us also. The leaders of the North Carolina Main Street program, as I told them we were doing this mural at our last conference in August, also recognize your love for the small towns and the small main streets, and they send their congratulations. Liz Parham, Naomi Riley, and Sherry Adams both say thank you and hello. As the Main Street Director, I thank you for the leadership you gave and the support to help guide us to making Cherryville a better place where life blossoms.
I tell you, after all of that, I can't wait to hear what I'm going to say. You have done it too much. I'm truly honored by your appreciation and gratitude for what you have done for the town. That's all. I am proud of what you've done. I grew up in this town, and you have returned it like it was 60, 70 years ago. It was so vibrant that it was so great as a kid to go downtown. That's a big thing, going downtown, and all the stores open and everything. But I'm so proud that y'all had the vision and the fortitude to carry it out. All I did was just a little encouragement, and you've done such a tremendous job. It's been 70 years here since I lived here, but I still refer to it as my hometown. And I love it so much that I love coming back to it, and I just hope it's going to continue to grow, and you are doing the right things to make it happen. Your celebration, I think you need to celebrate your cherry trees more and celebrate that cherry tree celebration. It can be, I think, a tremendous help and could draw a lot of people to your town. I've been so pleased that we've planted almost 1,000 of them, and but we need to plant another 1,000. We need to be looking at Cherryville as Cherry Town. You know, my nieces were asking how they got the name, and I think most of you know that when the railroad was being built in here, there was a lot of cherry trees along the tracks, and people got to call it Cherryville. And it wasn't it another name before HL, and you changed it to Cherryville? And people ask me all the time, where did you grow up? I said, Cherryville. Where in the world is Cherryville? And I had to tell them about it. But I had a great growing up period in Cherryville. I was born on the Carlton Mill. My dad moved to the Dory Mill. He was over the carting sections, and I thought the Dory was really downtown because I could walk it in about 5 minutes. But you've done so much, and I'm so proud of you, and I thank you for this. Pat and I will remember it forever. The only thing, it just looks too much like me. But I appreciate all your glorification and everything you said here today, and I hope that I can live up to it. But thank you, and keep the work going.
Thank you, Mr. Barker. I'm Emily Dellinger. I am the Chamber of Commerce Director and the City Events Coordinator for Cherryville. I love the statement that you made about giving some encouragement to the town, because that is just what our town needed to kickstart this project. Growing up, there wasn't much here on Main Street, and I heard so much chatter of, our town needs this, our town needs that, we have nothing here in town. Back in 2018, my family opened Annalise Boutique, and there was a few other stores, Home Folks Restaurant, some other things on Main Street, but just not a whole lot to attract people here to town. I can tell you 100% that this Main Street revitalization has made such a huge, huge impact in our businesses here on Main Street. It has attracted new businesses, and it has helped those existing businesses. I personally thank you so much for the difference it has made in my family's life, for our business. It has just been so, so good for our business. As the Chamber of Commerce Director, it continues to draw new businesses here to our downtown, and also our visitors for the events just rave about how wonderful our town looks, how nice the streets and the sidewalks look. Everything's just so clean, and it makes such a great space for events. I want to say thank you to everybody for coming today and celebrating this beautiful mural that we have. It's going to look great for years to come for all of our visitors to enjoy. If y'all will, please visit our table up here. We have some refreshments. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Barker. We really appreciate you.
Hi. I'm a little nervous. I like being behind the painting. I'm not much on the public speaking. But I just want to say I'm a relocate from Lake Lure because of the hurricane. And Cherryville really welcomed me. You have no idea how much I feel a part of the town, and I don't even know half of you. And it was an honor to do this painting of both of you. I was worried I wouldn't get it right because it's awful big. But doing the mural, I got to learn how much the community loves you and how much you love your community. And I think it's really wonderful. So I just wanted to say thank you.
We're here with Judy Dempsey at the celebration of the mural she just painted for Bob and Pat Barker, and it's beautiful. Now, how did this come about?
I was painting at Romo's, and I was approached by the city manager, Brian. He kept telling me I need to do a portrait. I didn't know if I could. I finally said yes, and that's how it started.
Now, how long did it take you in hours, you think?
I don't know. But it took
How many days?
2.5 weeks.
So 2.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you go off a photograph?
Well, they presented a photograph to me, and I really didn't like it because I figured if you're this proud of the Barkers, you want something that the whole town will be proud of, including them. So I researched it on Facebook and pulled this off.
I know we kept watching it, and it kept getting more detailed and detailed and detailed. But you hadn't signed it. When are you going to sign it?
Real soon, probably this week, sometime.
I'm going to find a pen, and maybe we'll get you to sign it here in a few minutes.
All right. All right.
We'll see what we can do. Now, your story, like you said, you were from Lake Lure, and then now you're just outside of Cherryville in Krause.
Yes.
And you have a studio. Now, how can people see your work?
Well, I have a whole bunch of paintings in the Home Folks restaurant, and I'm also in the Lincolnton just around the corner. And then the Lincolnton in October is going to do a whole art show featuring me. And then I also have it at the house across the street from the Kraus fire station. You can come to my gallery in there.
And you just completed in Kraus a big mural inside.
Yeah, at the fire station. They're really proud of it.
So really, size is no limit. You can do a small painting or the whole side of a building.
Yep, it can be furniture, walls, it doesn't matter. Ceilings. I'll do whatever you want.
Well, thank you for speaking with us. It's a beautiful piece of art that'll be here for many, many years. And I know Bob and Pat Barker are proud.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be a part of this town today. So thank you.
Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Gaston County Economic Development Commission, and also has a tourism department.
There you go.
Not as much. From the Wise News Network, we had Bob and Pat Barker. A ceremony honoring you guys and the mural behind us, which looks great. And Bob, you said a few words about Cherryville. And apparently Cherryville means a lot to you.
Oh, yes.
It certainly does. It was where I grew up, and it helped me develop some values in my life. My mother and my daddy were very involved in a church, and they raised me to be a Christian and to be a giver. They were very much givers, and I just wanted to follow behind them. And the Lord has blessed me so abundantly financially that I'm so glad that I can do things like this.
Now, you mentioned as a little boy you used to walk to town, and years ago everybody went to downtown to do everything.
They just sure did. Even the grocery stores, every grocery store was right downtown. And my daddy, he had a account at 2 different ones, and I'd sneak up here every now and then and buy some junk and charge it to him.
And you also mentioned about the cherry trees. Now, Cherryville got its name because of the cherry trees. Can you tell the audience how that came to be?
Well, somebody asked me about Cherryville, where I lived and where it got its name, and I tried to tell them about it. And I got to thinking. I found out that they were all killed during a plague at 25 years ago, maybe, so forth. But I used to sit under them. All of us kids do. They had actually cherry trees that you got cherries off of and ate. Yeah. And I would sit there and eat them till I got sick almost. But and then the plague got them, and I said, how can you have a town named Cherryville and not even have any cherry trees on? And it's a great, I think, a symbol of the city that they need to make it more of a part of their livelihood or whatever. Cherry trees could be a big asset. It can draw people, especially to their types of tournaments or things that they have, celebrations here. And we have planted almost 1,000, and I think we need to plant probably another 1,000 of it. I started off with, I'm in a Rotary Club in Fuquay, and I said, well, we'll get some cherry trees planted in Cherryville. I'll just tell the Rotary Club that I'll buy the cherry trees if they plant it. So I came up and talked to them. They said, oh, yeah, what a great idea. I said, okay, I'll buy them. So I bought 5,000 cherry trees, and they wouldn't plant them.
Well, what do you think about the mural behind us? I mean, you know, that's a legacy. It's going to be here for many, many years. So what do you think about the mural?
Well, I appreciate it. I know that it was a way of them appreciating what I have helped with them on it, but it was not necessary, really. But I think it was a great honor. It was a great honor that I loved it. I loved it.
Well, you and Pat have been instrumental and kick-started a lot of projects in Cherryville, and the downtown looks much better, and you were a big part of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sure were. I was involved in revitalization in Apex when I was mayor, and then I moved to Fuquay Arena, and I became mayor there and started revitalization, and that's where I was really involved and knew something about it, you know. And then I kept talking to some people in Cherryville. I said, you need to revitalize your downtown area. And some of them came down to Apex, to Fuquay, and saw what we have done so far. And they were impressed with it. So I think that helped them get an idea of how they could do it and so forth.
Now, you lived in Cherryville early through high school. Did you play sports?
I played baseball, and I boxed. I boxed in the Golden Gloves.
So don't make you mad.
I was just telling somebody about it coming up here. I said the only way I ever won this fight was I was in the best shape of my life. I ran 5 miles a day. I never ate anything that was out of not pristine food, healthy food, and I was really healthy. And the only way I won games was I outlasted my competition. They wore out.
Any words of wisdom to the viewers that you could say to enhance their life?
Well, I certainly would hope that more people would get involved in their community. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of encouragement from people, and people have time to get involved in something, and it helps them also, not only just to the community, but it does something for each individual that they feel like they've made an accomplishment. And I've always encouraged more people in particular to be involved in elections of the town or different jobs and be a part of it. And
So Pat, is he a good guy?
He's great.
Are you the better half?
Yeah. Maybe.
okay.
Okay. Well, appreciate y'all speaking with us. Congratulations. You're a big contribution to Cherryville, and the whole community love you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.